Welcome to your first flipped lecture of the year for World History 2. We're going to be finishing talking about the Renaissance, which I hope you remember from last class means the rebirth, and we're talking about the rebirth of classical knowledge and the beginnings of the modern world. So we will just blow through the old slides. There you go. Starts in the Italian city-states, moves north to Europe, which you already have on your graphic organizer. 4 big ways. Right here, the biggest one, of course, is the printing press. These were the big guys we talked about. Michelangelo, obviously, is huge. Leonardo da Vinci is the definition of a Renaissance man, which brings us to what was Renaissance literature like? So it's written in the vernacular, which if you go to back to page 1 of your graphic organizer, right here, vernacular, write the local language. Okay? The big thing about Renaissance literature is it's focused on the individual. So how you feel about something, things you want to happen, celebrating when you've been successful, things like that. You can also go, there's a picture of Machiavelli on your page, which is on the last page of your graphic organizer. There's a picture of Machiavelli. He is known for writing this book, The Prince. His name Machiavelli is right there. The Prince is the name of his book. It's the first novel ever written. So take a moment and write that down. You can pause the video. There are 3 types of literature, styles of literature that are developed during the Renaissance. There's sonnets, which you studied last year in English, plays, like drama from the, can you guess which of the World I ancient civilizations? Pause the video. You should have guessed the Greeks. The Greeks are known for their drama or plays. And then essays, which are where you write about your ideas, what you think about something. Most famous Renaissance writer, William Shakespeare, which you've heard of. He did some really cool things, like he gets credited with inventing these words. Before they show up in his plays and writings, we don't have any other written record of those words in the English language. This one actually comes from Arabic, so interesting that he's the guy who brings it in there. He's writing during the reign of this lady, who we will talk about soon, Queen Elizabeth, and many of his plays are going to be written to make her and her family look good at the expense of other dead English kings and sometimes the Scottish people. Maybe the most important invention of the Renaissance was the printing press. It's invented by Johann Gutenberg in what today is Germany. So there was not a country called Germany yet, but he is German, he speaks German. And for right now, we'll just say he's from Germany. And the first book is going to be the Bible. Humanism is the big idea during the Renaissance. It's the short definition of humanism is it's focused on the individual instead of on secular ideas. So if you go back to page 1 of your graphic organizer, one of the words you need to define is secular. It means worldly or not religious. So the second part is they're looking back to classical Greece and Rome, which we talked about when we looked at the art last class. So here's the second part of what is humanism. It's secular rather than religious, the opposite. Secular means not religious, and it focuses on the individual. Now, how did these ideas impact everything we've been talking about. We talked last class about how Leonardo da Vinci is considered to be the ultimate Renaissance man. So if the goal is to be like Leonardo da Vinci, education is the key. It's why your school is set up the way it is. So you have math, you have social studies, you have English, you have science, plus everyone has to take art. They prefer if you take a foreign language or a new language to you, with the whole goal of you becoming well-rounded so that you can do everything okay. Maybe not everything is your best thing, but you're able to do everything. So, here's the big thing about humanism. They're pushing for everyone to improve themselves, usually through education. Most people at this time could not read, so that's the first step. Up until the Renaissance, all your teachers would have been clergy, which means people who work for the church. So at this time, those would be priests. They're now going to be replaced by people like me who are just teachers. We are not affiliated with churches to teach you about a religion. We're just here to teach you, in this case, social studies. And that's going to lead to the new forms of literature that we saw. The first writer that you need to know about, his name is Erasmus. So who was Erasmus? He is a little bit different than a lot of the humanists because he's a Christian. So he's going to take the humanist ideas and he's going to take the Christian ideas and merge them together with the hope of improving Christian people with these new ideas. So the big thing he was upset about was he wanted to reform and eliminate abuses in the church. So he felt in particular the Pope was not living the life that Jesus taught people to live. He thought people should be living simply based on the teachings of Jesus. And so he believed through humanist learning or education and studying the Bible, this could be accomplished. Only problem is most people can't read. So the first step is you have to teach people to read so they can read the Bible and see what it says for themselves instead of relying on a priest to tell them. His book is called In Praise of Folly, or his most famous book, where he is going to attack the massive wealth, which we will look at examples of, and in particular the Pope, in hopes of making people realize how silly some of these things going on were. The next humanist writer we need to look at, Sir Thomas More, who becomes a Christian saint later. His book is called Utopia, and it's a story, you might have heard this word before, it's going to describe the perfect society, where nothing is wrong and everything goes right. Sometimes you will hear people make fun of Reston and call it utopia because it was built on a dream to create the perfect society where people from different income levels and races and backgrounds all are mixed up together. So you have somebody really wealthy living next to somebody who is just trying to make ends meet. And the idea is the more people we're exposed to, the more well-rounded and open-minded we will be. So, if you missed something on your chart, please go back and fill it in. In particular, graphic organizer number 1 has these vocabulary words. Patron, if you missed it in class, is a person who pays for the art. Usually it's going to be a noble, some sort of rich person. And then go to page 2, make sure you've got all the things from page 2. We just talked about all these guys. And then make sure you look at page 4, which has, as you can see, it's got Machiavelli, it's got a demonstration of perspective, which we talked about last time, and realism, which we talked about last time. If you have any questions please make sure you ask them in class. And I will see you soon.